You're tuned in to the Men of Ann Arbor podcast, season 2, episode 2. You got Petey here. I'm here, Stuart Douglas. Appreciate you guys listening or breaking down Michigan basketball all year. So far, it's been an exciting team to break down. A lot of ups and downs. This team has a lot of potential, so we're excited to keep breaking it down for you all. Appreciate you all listening.
Go Blue.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Men of Ann Arbor podcast. I'm your host, Stuart Douglas, alongside co-host Petey Sims. Petey, what's up, man? What's new with you?
Stu? Chilling, man. High school basketball coach now.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Was it your first week?
Man. Yep. This is going to be my fourth day. This was my fourth day today.
Fourth day today. Okay, so you're fresh in it, and you're coaching like everybody.
Yep.
Persian.
Varsity, junior varsity, Persian. I'm coaching Persian. Man,
Back
you
home.
know that's high school I went to, Stu, man. It's good to be back home, give back, man. Like my old high school coach always said, got to push it forward, man. So that's all I'm trying to do.
That's gotta feel good. That'd be cool to coach your high school team, but it's got to be nerve-wracking as hell to just be coaching varsity starting November. You would have started November 23rd. Have they played? They played games.
No, they haven't played yet. The first game is tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
So we got our first game tomorrow, and it's a bittersweet feeling, but life is not playing. So sometimes you just got to jump in and put your best foot forward, man.
You got any plays? You got any special sets put in?
Not at all.
Did you even put anything in?
Yeah, I got to put in so in Detroit, and preferably the east side, my school, zone press. So we got 3 or 4 zone presses that we use. We usually practice them all practice, and we usually rely on pressing, man. That's how we play basketball, and, that's the only thing I got to do so far.
Any good scores? Anybody we should look out for?
Yeah, I got 2 twin boys, man, 11th graders.
Okay.
And Lewis Curry, he's 11th grader too, man. I got some guys. I'm gonna put that touch on them, man. They're gonna be good.
I was gonna say, give me a projection on the record, but I can't make a head coach give a projection on the record. That's not a good look.
We're going in every game fighting Persian pride, baby.
Yeah, we gotta keep that updated. I'm excited to hear about that. You came to Indy once, didn't you? You played Cathedral in Indy.
Yep, played Cathedral in Indy.
My buddy was talking about it the other day. He was like, "Yeah, Persian Doughboys." Petey rolled in. I think you probably gave him 20 something, but I think that was a tough day for you.
Did we win?
No, I think you lost.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, that team was pretty good.
Cathedral was good. No, that team was that team was real good. I remember that vividly.
Yeah, that year we lost to them too. I think. Yeah, some kid hit a shot from his knees. Yeah, they were good that year. I got nothing new with me. I want to get into Michigan basketball. We had a rough weekend in the Bahamas. First of all, if we ever went to the Bahamas, I don't know how you would have pulled like me, Vogrich, Novak out of the casino. Like we would have just been in that casino the entire time. I don't think we ever went anywhere. You've been to Bahamas? You've been to Nassau? I haven't been there, but I've heard.
No, I haven't been to Nassau. I haven't been to. So
Beeline would have made a rule.
That's what I'm saying. You would have been in the casino in the Beeline era?
No, hell no. No, it would have been completely off limits. That would have been – you probably would have been, like, suspended a game if you got caught in that casino. No joke. It wouldn't have been, like, in trouble. You would have been suspended for a game.
He would have laid the hammer down for sure, especially on you, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I was on thin ice the first couple of years for sure. But, yeah, they had Michigan had a rough weekend going 1-2 over the weekend. I want to get into some of the specifics of the game. It's a lot of games to break down. I think we've had 4 games since the last podcast episode. Overall, there's some good things, a lot of things that the team needs to work on. I think it was a real test. I think Long Beach State was a test. I think they came into Chrysler, punched Michigan in the mouth. I was like, all right, what was that exactly? And then they got tested with some kind of blue blood talent. The point guard for Memphis, I'm losing on his name. I can't. I'm blanking on his name, but he played at Alabama last year. That was Doug's like first real big test, point guard to point guard matchup. I think where Doug was really going to test somebody, where somebody was going to go at him, and Doug was going to see where he lands in the landscape of point guards across the country. And I think Doug thought maybe I think he probably wishes he had that game back. But the whole time, I saw a team just kind of making mistakes, mistake after mistake, especially on the defensive end. And what was your like total takeaway from the weekend?
Well, as you know, Memphis is a top 25 team. They're a team whose season
You think so?
that game.
Yeah, they had a good nod
Yeah,
miss.
they got what they're 5-1, 4-1. The Michigan
Yeah,
game,
yeah, they beat
the
Arkansas.
Michigan
You're
game.
right. They beat Arkansas, who was ranked 20th. They lost to Villanova pretty bad though.
Yeah,
Um,
but
5-1. They didn't look
Villanova's
good.
Villanova.
Penny's got them looking good.
Yeah, no, Penny got them looking good, and we're a team right now that's just trying to find that identity. Like a bunch of new pieces going together. We've seen some spurts of some great offense. I think the first 5 out of 6 games over 80 points. So the
Yeah.
offense is there. Playing against a team like Memphis, that's when you really get to see where you at. And we didn't show up. We didn't take that next step.
Yeah.
And that was the first step starting the weekend.
No, for sure. I think looking at Ken Palm, Michigan is ranked 25th in offensive efficiency right now in the country, which is really damn good, and then 111th in defensive efficiency. So it's not compatible for winning. They've had bad luck. This Ken Palm, you'll love this. Ken Palm has like a luck rating where it's like I don't know, determines based off your metrics if you should win or lose a game. And then, maybe you'll play some teams that are hot that day. And Michigan's luck has been terrible. It's like in the top, like bottom quarter of percentile in the country. So I mean, Memphis hit some tough shots. Texas Tech hit some like pull up dribble threes at times. Stanford even started out hot. So I think they've faced some teams like that, but they're not imposing their will defensively. I got to watch the second half live, so I wanted to touch up on the Texas Tech game. So I watched the highlights, and it's one of those highlights where it shows all the scoring opportunities. So I didn't get to watch I didn't break down every single possession, but the first 7 or 8 scoring possessions for Texas Tech were defensive mistakes or
For sure.
situations where Michigan could have at least bothered that shot a little bit more, where it wasn't a layup. And it's little things like that. They start off the game, and it was a ball screen from the middle to the wing. Terrence bumped the roller pretty well, actually. And then the guy threw, I'll give him credit, the point guard threw like a beautifully perfect pass, just lob, perfect, like just dropped in the basket. But Namari was in the opposite corner, hugged to his man. That wasn't even close to the block. And
How
we
much did
worked
you
on that.
hate that?
Yeah, you saw it right away. You'll get pissed. I mean, first possession, like that stuff. It's what was it? Game 5. I don't know what number. 7. That's in the Big Ten play. Or you're getting your ass chewed out on film, chewed out because you cannot start a game like that. Okay, you get caught in the game. It's the 35th minute. You're tired. Things happen sometimes. Like sometimes these things happen. But even then, we like those were huge mistakes that we tallied up and you can't start a game like that. They're right there. Like their defense was not good, but they're right there. They're like one step away from being good. So I'm not super worried about it. It's not like they're totally lost. It's like you just need that extra half foot to get there.
Yeah, and then that's the growing pains of the season. Like you say,
Yeah.
they had a few good tests. They couldn't oppose their will so much defensively, but they had a few good tests. I think that Texas Tech game was the only game where we really just gave up. We really just threw in a
And yeah.
towel. And it should have been parallel to the Stanford game where, Stanford got up early and we made a push. So you get to see kind of like our team identity. One game,
Right.
we just give up. In another game, make an incredible push. So just got to establish that identity. And early in the season, playing games out of conference, it's hard. It's not a lot of scouting. Um,
Yeah, there's
practice,
none.
the practice schedule isn't so detailed, and you know how a Big Ten practice schedule is. It's to the T. So, you know, when we play Ole Miss next, you got a few more games
Oregon.
before Oregon
Yeah.
next. A few more games before conference play, and Oregon. I hear they missing two of their big guys. Should be a good test for Terrace to take a leap forward, but developing an identity before conference play starts. I think that's the biggest hurdle for us right now.
Yeah, I think I mean I know they're 18 to 22, 23 year olds, but my mindset is like of a 28, 29, 30 year old. If I play 3 games in 3 days, I'd be dead. Done. Like I don't know how kids didn't get hurt, but like that, I guess that's the resiliency of a college kid's body. But like 3 games, it's tough. You like you said, you don't get to scout as much. You don't know what their sets are now. I don't think Texas Tech was running a completely unique offense that you really had to scout, and I thought they did a pretty good job of identifying some X switches, even though they were late on the communication a little bit. But yeah, man, that third game, that third day, like you got to be a dog. Like you got to be focused in. You got to really focus in mentally because your body's just not going to quite be there, and those are the things that go right. Like you see it. I think you saw it with this team against Texas Tech was that mental side went, that mental focus went. I mean, there was one possession early. Terrace, Olivier was guarding the block, and the guy did like a kind of a little turnaround jump hook, but outside the block, like a foot or two outside the block. And it wasn't at the rim, and Terrace was in help side, and the ball went up. And as the ball was like going up and it was about at its peak, Terrace jumps up like he's going to block it, and he's a foot and a half away from the ball. Like one of those like you can't block it, but it's like, oh yeah, he's tired. Like he thought maybe he could get that block. Like you could never, no one can get that block. I mean, maybe Dwight Howard in his prime, but stuff like that, where you're like, okay, you just little tired focus wise, and those things compound, and then all of a sudden you're down 20 in the second half, and it's hard to come back.
Bahamas 7 days. We all love the beach, but you got it. It comes to a point where you make that decision from being a kid, a young man, and a grown man. 7 days, you got to buckle down and finish the job. We call it finish your breakfast, man. You have to finish the job. We know you're tired. We know you want to go home.
Yeah.
Some of the early games didn't go as planned, but you have to finish the job. And me and you both know that. Coming from situations where playing for Beeline, things like that matter. Even if we
Yep.
lost 2 in a row, he's going to see how we play that third game, and that usually can determine our week going into the next game. So,
Yeah. No, big time. I think guys like Cheddar maybe earned himself more minutes next
yeah,
game compared to Terrace. I think can be matchup dependent on these things, but where there wasn't much consistency, I thought Will came in and gave some pretty good consistency.
he was
Um,
tired. He was tired.
yeah, but there's some minutes there. I mean, Trey tried to come in and get some minutes. Um, I think overall, but this team, they have their 7-8 guys. We'll see if Jalen can come back or what that looks like, but you're gonna have to roll with these 7-8 guys and keep building that confidence. We talked about their offensive efficiency being top 25 and coming into this weekend like off the charts. But even then, watching them in Memphis, in particular, not so much the Stanford game, but then definitely against Texas Tech, really just kind of looking at each other. Again, it was a lot like last year. Last year they had Hunter, so they didn't really know what they wanted to do. Hunter kind of clogged the lane a little bit, so there wasn't too much driving opportunities there. And then they just kind of ended up pitching it down to Hunter in the post. Well, they posted up the Texas Tech game. They posted up Terrace a few times, Olivia a few times, Will a few times, all in the first half. And it wasn't really designed post ups. It was like, all right, well, we're kind of at the end of the rope here, the shot clock, and we kind of have a post up, but it's not great position. That's not the offense you want to keep repeating. And that to me starts with Doug taking control of the end of the clock. Like I played with a lot of really good point guards, Darius and Trey Burke, Darius Morris and Trey Burke, and they like our offense was kind of like look for a shot, but really like end of the clock, get it to those two, and we're running it down. Now, when we had you and Manny, it was different. Like we could throw it to you in the post with 10, 12 seconds, and that was an efficient play for us. But right now, it's not. They don't really have a plan out of it per se. I mean, dude, you gave Jawan Johnson the business back in the day. Like he was defensive player in the Big Ten, and you gave him the business, so that was like good for us. I don't know if Michigan they're still working to find that guy in the post. And to me, it comes down to Doug taking control. Like he's got to want and own the ball for 80% of that game. Like he should be driving, being aggressive, even when he's making mistakes. Like he's got to be the one that's being the most aggressive. I think. I don't know, maybe Olivier too, but I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. To piggyback on what you said, I want to pose a question.
Yeah,
So, for teams with not such of a big post presence to have that rate of efficiency of offense, how does that equate to winning, or does it?
it's a good question because then you're kind of relying on shooting. I think they
Because that's the
weren't.
world now. That's the world now.
Yeah,
Not
it
not, not a
is.
lot of post guys.
It is.
So,
I
do we
think they
really
were
need
still
it?
getting good inside looks. Like they were getting Olivier. Like they were getting guys in position to make one or two dribbles or no dribbles and score the ball. And they did not do that in the Bahamas. Like they were putting, you know, they were getting Terrence opportunities to fire it up 4 or 5 times a game from three, get his opportunities in the fast break. I think they got Olivier on rolls. I don't remember that many rolls for baskets. Like they were not putting pressure on the defense with the pick and roll. It wasn't that great. And it's not like they don't have shooters around. Like they have enough shooters around. Terrace rolls to the basket. Namari, Terrence, Will, all everybody can shoot the ball. So I think they don't have to have a post up game necessarily um, to be efficient offensively. They just got to like whatever they're doing. They just got to do it. They got to do it fast and they got to do it with confidence. The problem is that's I guess okay. That's a catch 20, not catch 22, but it's like you're putting the guy in a tough position. So their post up game looks bad because they're being put in inefficient spots, right? Like giving it to you at like 12 feet when you had a guy sealed at 5 feet, like you're going to be
Yeah,
pissed off as a post
yeah,
player.
yeah.
So there's some of that, but I mean, what do you think that they need to develop that side of the game?
No, so that question was basically saying with how the game is going, if
Yeah,
the big guys can be defenders with how efficient that offense has been. Now, of course, Big Ten play is going to get tougher. The
yeah,
tournament is going to get tougher. But
yeah,
I think you got a dynamic point guard playing this way is probably the only way, just because of the versatility of Olivier and the defensive terrorists. So I don't really see a post presence, meaning wasting time throwing the ball down, so
yeah.
much as keep doing what you're doing and perfecting that efficient offense.
See, I think you can exploit a lot of pick and rolls with Doug and Olivier if he's got a big man on him, pick and pop. If it's a smaller guy, I would roll because it's probably going to be a switch. I think you get into Big Ten play, there might be more switches. You can get a Big Ten guard onto Olivier. Olivier is good enough to be ready for a double team, to be able to pass out of it or take advantage of the mismatch and score. Like he's the most confident post player Michigan has right now. And so I think there's going to be some advantages that they can use there. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they got to keep like staying aggressive like they were before, and I think their offense just they weren't confident, they weren't aggressive versus Memphis. Definitely not against Texas Tech. Like I want to see guys put up threes. Terrence was shooting threes in transition that you're kind of like, one of those. But like I love it. Like, dude, I said this last year. I would rather them do that than hold the ball above their head for 15 seconds looking at each other over possession and then end up with a post up from 15 feet with 8 seconds left. 1,000%. I'd rather
A
you
thousand
be
percent.
delusionally confident that you're going to hit that three than like standing back on your heels. Like it was never you. You were so aggressive of a player. I mean, what was your mindset going in?
My,
Like, did you have the ups and downs with that?
my ups and downs came from, just to be honest, and this is an honest platform.
Yeah,
Just came from the work ethic. So besides that, my mindset was to score. Anything
yeah,
besides not scoring just had to do with me putting the work in. I wasted a lot of time not putting time in the gym. So anything outside of my mindset being, to score, anything that negated that was just me not putting the work in. So those guys putting the work in confidently do it,
yeah.
especially, Olivier. We need you. We're dependent on you. Terrace is young. You transferred over here. I hope you're listening to me. You got to hold down the paint for us.
Yeah. No, and to your point, like when our team, my freshman year, we went to the tournament. You and Manny were our scorers. Zach and I had our games, but like scoring was not my first thought. Now, could it have helped me out if I was a little more confident in that department? Yeah, hell yeah, for sure. But I had my role. My first focus was defense, making the right play, running offense crisply, no mistakes. And we needed you to be that guy that just go score. Don't think about anything else. My senior year when Trey was a freshman, we literally on film, you could see us pushing him into rotations because he's a young kid. He didn't know all the rotations. It wasn't second nature to him then, but that wasn't his role. Like we needed him to play competent enough defense, but he was going to score us the ball, control the game, um, take it to Aaron Kraft as an 18-year-old, just like crazy shit like that. But you all have your different roles, and I think that sometimes like a guy like Terrence or Namari, really look like the whole team, like kind of if you start to retreat from your role, you're not helping out the team. So it starts with the head of the snake for me, which is Doug. Like if you're not going to start the game being aggressive, testing out the waters, getting into the paint, like putting pressure on the defense, like letting them know like this is going to be a long night for you. This is going to be a really long night for you because I'm going to be in this paint all game. If you don't start out that game, all right, defense gets comfortable. You start to like question like, okay, do I start attacking now? I think right out the gate when Michigan's was looked really good in the 4 games they won, it was because from the very beginning there was no doubt that they were going to attack the basket. They were going to put up shots whether it was open or not. Like they were going to be themselves. So it's a learning curve. Like this weekend is definitely a learning curve. Like it can be a wake up call for sure. We didn't figure it out at the very beginning. I don't think. I mean, granted, we did beat UCLA in the Garden. That helped a lot with your backdoor. Shout out Ant Wright for the backdoor pass to the PD dunk.
That
But
right. That right.
yeah, I see that he posts that replay about once a year. I think I'm waiting for it this year.
Hey, follow me back on Twitter, Ant Right. I'm following you, baby.
He didn't follow you.
Nah, he
Too
don't know
busy
how
building
to.
his empire.
He got the blue check, man. You know how that go.
Yeah, of course he does. He's got a brand he's got to uphold.
So
Yeah,
Stu,
you gotta let him know.
I got a question. So
Yeah,
the ups and downs of the offense, the defense this weekend or this week, didn't get the results we want, but it was great to see Jawan back.
yeah. Even though he got thrown out of that game, I want to know what he said, dude. Like, what do you say? Because he's coming back from heart surgery. He's trying to stay calm, right? But like, he had to have said something really bad then to this ref because you're calm, like you're not yelling or spitting in his face. But it is good. It was good to see him back. Um, he's going to be the guy that obviously leads the team. Obviously, they won those games under Phil, and Phil was coaching the head coaching job in the Bahamas. But it'll be good to have Jawan back. And everyone respects the entire coaching staff, but like you want your head coach back.
You just got it's a different chip that you play with. I always feared my head coach wherever I played. They never, Beeline yelled at me a little bit. My high school coach didn't yell at me too much, but it was not letting them down so much as
Mm.
not listening to them. I listened very well, but it was something about not letting them down.
Yeah.
Beeline had this look in his eye anytime, like we talked about earlier, something like not rotating when your man goes to bumper screener or a
Yeah.
roller. You being that guy not rotating and being there to help your teammate. How did that feel for you when he caught you, singled you out in film? So I had that type of,
Terrible.
fear for my coaches. So
Yeah. Well, it builds into like you fear mistakes, right? You start to fear the mistakes, and you don't want to get called out for the mistakes. And then when you build a team, you don't want to let everyone else down. Like to your point, like you don't want to be the guy that makes the mistake while the other four are playing perfect defense.
for sure.
And I think they're gonna get there. I think they can get there. I see the pieces. I see the mind slowly working where they're like they know what to do. They're just a half step slow, and so that pressure definitely speeds up that process. And um, I think they're close. But yeah, to your point, it's like you get called out in film, and it's a low feeling, man. Especially when if you had like the most mistakes that game, oof, that's a low feeling.
Don't try this at home, guys. But anytime I got overwhelmed in film, Coach Beeline, I would say, man, I ain't the only one playing. And all the mistakes was on me. I would be like, man, I ain't the only one playing. I had to
Dude,
blurt
I
out
forgot.
something because that tension, it would be so tense in there, and he's not going to lay off you. So
Yeah,
I will always say something that just get him off my back, man. But
yeah, you
it's
gotta like, because I hated it, man. Like he'd be on you for stuff, and you're like, dude, shut up. Like this is not important. Like this is one little thing. I know how to do it. It was just a mistake. Stuff like that. But if you can change the mindset where you say, all right, I want people to point out all of my mistakes. I want to
for
see
sure.
it because you got to own it. As soon as you start taking responsibility for those mistakes, boom. I mean, things can flip in a switch. That was our year, junior year. Right? People were calling for Beeline's head, and then all of a sudden we beat Michigan State at Michigan State, and we started taking responsibility for ourselves and started playing like the team we could, and everything changed. I mean, it was literally like one meeting, and everything changed. So it can happen. And this team, they don't have an attitude problem like we did on my team sophomore year. We did on my
Yeah,
team junior year, and we turned it
yeah.
around. I don't think this team has it, but that doesn't mean guys aren't taking responsibility for themselves. And I'm not calling them out. Like I'm not saying that's the problem,
Me neither.
but
Me neither, guys.
yeah, but you can always improve, right? You gotta want to look for those mistakes that you're making so you can learn from them. But I don't know. I still see the glimpses of greatness with this team. I think they can figure it out. They got all the pieces offensively and defensively. I think they're right there. So excited to watch Oregon. At Oregon will not be an easy game. I don't know. You mentioned some with the injury report. I don't know what the team
Yeah.
is like. I think they're pretty even balanced scoring wise, but that'll be fun. I'm curious though. Before we head out of here, Big Ten been kind of up and down, not looking super great. I mean, minus Purdue, wild. The first time this is a crazy stat. The first time that a Big Ten team has been ranked number one for 3 straight years. Not ranked number one at one point for 3 straight years. I thought that was a little crazy. I thought maybe Michigan State, the old IU teams for sure,
The
but
OIU teams for sure. No.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, but that's pretty crazy. Purdue looks really good. Besides them, do you think Purdue's having a down year? I'd say it's a pretty down year overall for the Big Ten, at least to start.
Yeah, but I don't think the outer conference schedule is so strong. First of all, so it's not a good judge to say so far, in my opinion. But I'm not going to count Michigan State out.
Yeah.
Um, you did a ranking with Michigan. We can't count them out. I think you picked them
Yep.
four, right? In
Yeah.
the
At
Big
least.
Ten, so we can't count them out. I like.
Let's see what we
Yeah,
got.
man.
We got
We got to
Purdue,
see what we got.
not ranked
We
number
got
one, number two in Ken Palm. I mean,
Michigan State, man.
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin,
they're
Wisconsin never
looking.
sleeps.
They never sleep, and their offense is looking good. Their defense is looking good. I don't know what happened in the last couple games. Kempom, they're number 24, which is wild to me, and Egezian, is that his name? Wow, I think I'm butchering his name. Anyways, white kid that like killed Michigan at Chrysler last year. Not even playing. I don't know what's going on there. Look out, hey, Petey, look out for him transferring to Michigan. I don't know when, but that kid loved Michigan growing up, and now he's not getting minutes. I don't know what's going on, but
What
sleeper
year?
sophomore. I think he's a
Okay.
sophomore. Connor Sejan, a Sejan. I
Season. Okay.
got dyslexia with his name. Anyway, yeah, like Wisconsin's ranked 24th at Ken Ohio State 25th, and those two teams I'm not super excited about, and those are the teams behind Purdue right now. So I don't know. You got some teams that can figure it out. Wisconsin can always figure it out. Michigan can figure it out. IU, I think, has the talent to do it. I don't know what their issue is. Northwestern's sleeper. You never count out Boo Booey, but overall, not looking super great. So Michigan has a real opportunity to play really well in the Big Ten. I think their first game is against IU next week, and that's going to be a big test. That's a game they got to win. Yeah, Tuesday the 5th. Next game, yeah. So Saturday they got Oregon, and then Tuesday they got Indiana, and then the following Sunday they got Iowa. So these three games are crucial. Like you don't want to drop two of these three games. For your confidence, it's not do or die by any means, but it's going to be huge to start off really well, bounce back from the Bahamas, going into Oregon. I'm not going to do any consolation prizes, but like I want to see them continue to improve because like we said, like Big Ten's kind of down, so you can if you catch a run right there in the Big Ten, like you can win a lot of games, get your resume up over 20 games, 22, 23, 24 wins, make the tournament that way just based off winning those games and be at your best at the end. So really what I'm looking for, we'll cap this episode off, what we're looking for. What I'm looking for Michigan, two things. Doug to take over, to be aggressive from the very beginning, and the rest of the team to feed off that. And then two, just build, minimize those mistakes, right? Minimize those defensive mistakes. Let's say they had 15 last game. Let's get down to 13. It doesn't have to be a massive jump. Just keep getting slightly better. What do you want to see from them in the next few games?
Only thing I will have different is the morale. See, you go into a game like Stanford, you're down 22-2 or 29-8. You come back. You're down to Texas Tech. You're down. Texas Tech make a run. You lay down.
Yeah.
Two different morales. Only one solution. One got you to win. One got you, spanked. So
Yeah.
Make a decision fast before the Big Ten comes.
Right. And it doesn't have to be offense. You can switch that morale on the defensive end. So that there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So yeah, to your point, stick together. It's going to be a long year. There's going to be ups and downs the entire year. This team, I have no doubt they can figure it out, but it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited to watch that Oregon game, 3:30, Fox Sports. Well, you got Michigan football, Big Ten championship. I'm trying to figure out tickets for that, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. But it's not looking like a big game. I think ticket prices have been going down, so you might see me in the stands at Lucas Oil. It's an Indy this year. You coming down? When's the last time you went to a football game?
I just went to the
Oh
Lions
yeah,
Raiders game, but the Monday Night
not Michigan.
Football.
No Michigan games.
No, I'm man. I love all of my Ann Arbor people, but I'm not dealing with that traffic and
Yeah,
all of those
that's
people, man. I
I.
just
You and me, we didn't go to those games. Like on Saturday,
no.
yeah, I was going. Novak was always trying to go in. I was not. I was like, that's my off day, dude. I'm going home. There's too many people there. I'm not dealing with that. But yeah, that'll be fun. We didn't even get into any Michigan Ohio State, dude. That Ohio State fans are freaking out. We should have dedicated like 10 minutes to that, but that's too much to get into. It was sad, dude. These Ohio State fans are sad. Ryan Day is the saddest man in America right now. It was college fandom is nuts on the football side.
Did you feel bad for him?
Hell no. Hell no. You can't. If he was more likable, and like you thought that he was like a nicer guy, and he has that certain like coach mentality. It's hard to put into words, but when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that guy. I don't like his personality. Something about it. Like I'm not saying he's a bad person, but there's something, when you go through it, and you've had a lot of coaches. I've had a lot of coaches. I have a pretty good sixth sense about like which coaches are a-holes and which coaches are like, all right, that seems like a good person. And then some people put on fronts. You've seen that. You can put on a good front and seem like a good person. You're really an a-hole, but you kind of get a sense for it. I don't know. Something about Ryan Day I just don't really like. He's trying too hard,
Man,
man.
I felt sorry for him at the end of that game. He had the Michael Jordan crying face, man.
Dude, I've never seen anyone walk more sad. Body
Man,
language
it
like
was
this.
bad.
It was terrible, man. I was like, get the camera off this. I did. That was a little sad. They could have gone without showing him that much, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
good
for
news.
sure. Yeah,
All right, man. Good episode. That'll wrap it up. We will come back. I'm not sure again when we'll schedule the next one, but after the Oregon game, probably after the IU game, we'll see. We'll see what this team is capable of. You know, build off those mistakes. But I think you and me we both like this team. We both like the players, and they still have a real shot. We've been a part of it. There's always time to turn it around, so they can figure it
that's
out. So,
key. You're
yep,
right. There's always time to turn around, especially in that conference play. Like we done seen it too many times.
yep, yeah, way too many times, way too many times. Well, that'll wrap up episode 2 of season 2. Appreciate everybody listening. Follow at Beyond the Big Ten on all socials. We still got to get PD. We still got to get your social up there. Follow me, SWD_317 on X. I still hate calling it X, on X and Instagram. We got a first episode. We dropped the ball a little bit. We didn't really put it out there too well. I didn't put it out there on socials too well. So we'll do better with interacting a little bit. But appreciate you guys all listening. Till next time. See ya.